All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the true power with General Sarah Soon said he kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. It's going down, family, to tomorrow. It's almost today, but it's tomorrow. The Olmec Voyagers of the Nile, the Aboriginal Black Indian myth exposed. This is a legendary lecture that most definitely is in the lineup of classic of all classics. Got to touch them. You feel me? We got to keep this information out here. I'm glad y'all here today. Hold up. Let me get my monitor going. Yeah, I'm gonna run this down on you on how we gonna crack heads. We in the house. That's right. Black Power. Let me get my yeah, here we go. Get my monitor up there so I know. There we go. Right there. There we go. Yeah, it's going down tomorrow around 6:30 p.m. Man, we had a hell of a time. You know what? But it's still a lot of peoples out here that can't deal with that raw General Sarah Soon said. I'm just gonna tell you. You know, motherfuckers can't deal, yeah. Well, advance. You know, I'm going up on the advance. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because I don't give a fuck what level I take this shit to. You know, there's always some motherfuckers out there that they in there just for the strength to try to what they call it when you flag the motherfucking the lecture. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so I had to, some of these lectures I had to take these motherfuckers on a whole nother platform. And I had platform, but I tell you what, I slipped up. I slipped up. That's my own motherfucking fault. You know what I'm saying? Because, these motherfuckers are joining the lecture just to fucking, they'll pay whatever the fuck they got to pay. But I go hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? I go hard in the paint. Motherfuckers don't do lectures like I do. That shit is, when you start thinking about the eras of the Dr. Benz, Dr. John Henry Clark, where Dr. Clark didn't even get down like that. He gave lectures, but he didn't give the visuals and shit. You know what I'm saying? So you talking about the age of, the Ashrock Quasies and, and even then, I'm just going to be 1,000 with you. You see what I'm saying? I'm like in the motherfucking class by myself. And I don't say this to, I'm the motherfucker that do this. You understand what I'm saying? You don't know no motherfucker that just do visual lectures like that and compile. Well, most motherfuckers, it take a hell of a lot of research. You ain't gonna just put no goddamn picture up and no visual up and think that that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain amount of research that been done for every visual, but to have to chase, see, that's my thing. It's gonna be on Patreon. Even Ticket Leak. You know what I'm saying? All of these motherfuckers is gonna be on Patreon. That's why I just go ahead and when I get ready to do something like The Making of the White Man, I just got to take it to a whole nother, I got to figure out how to take it to a whole nother platform. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to start just doing the live stream strictly on Patreon. If you have a certain, level, then you get it. That just, because it's well worth it. I'm just going to be 1,000 with you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's out here doing this kind of motherfucking work. You got preacher niggas out there. They'll get up there and preach and give you a motherfucking sermon or feel good, but they ain't going to drop no motherfucking where you getting, 200-300 motherfucking visual, mind-blowing visuals with the information for you to go back and do your motherfucking research after the live stream. You see what I'm saying? So I know I done elevated my students on a level that no motherfucker has done in the last 20 years. That's a fact. You see? Yeah, I know I was chemistry. You was in there too. Yeah, I was going hard and too hard. You know what I'm saying? I looked up and the motherfucker, and I say, damn, ain't nobody responding. Yeah, somebody on there, them 6 motherfuckers. See, but they laid there. We'll see some of them laid there, and then when it got, but that's all right. It's all right. That just let me know, somebody got, motherfucking heart was broken. Yeah. Yeah. But then you know what? I don't get off into the, you know what I'm saying? People gotta think, when you giving back, you know what I'm saying? I do this shit because I love it. You feel what I'm saying? Actually, and I tell people this. I don't give a fuck about nothing what motherfuckers is talking about. I don't even pay no attention to none of that. You know what I'm saying? I was walking with the masters. You feel me? These and most of these niggas, that and majority of all these niggas that you see out here today, they was not here. That's a fact. That's just a fact. You know, I was walking with the Grand Master. It wasn't even no YouTube. Shit, I spent damn near 16, 17 years with Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark before YouTube even came out. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I met Dr. Ben back in 1987. And I met Dr. John Henry Clark back in 1988. You see, and I showed people where, I stayed with them every year from that point. I never missed a year. You know what I'm saying? Seeing the masters. I showed all the receipts. And when they didn't come to Detroit, I went to Harlem to see the Grand Masters. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that's what inspired me. When I first saw Dr. Man, I was listening and Dr. Ben, I couldn't believe Dr. Ben was like, man, he was something that was so far from everybody else because uh Dr. Ben introduced now he introduced Egypt, the study of Egypt. Dr. Ben introduced that to the Western Hemisphere. It wouldn't be no ancient, the studies of ancient Egypt, in the Western Hemisphere if it wasn't for Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanan. That's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? I could, I black. Just that's right, family. The internet went out, and that just let you know the energy. That goddamn energy was so powerful that them motherfuckers internet. You understand? Is full of so much wicketry. You understand what I'm saying? That I went up through that motherfucker and a whole system shut down. Yeah, that righteous word. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, and I was talking about Dr. Ben, but like I said, we talking about back in 88, 87. You know what I'm saying? All through the 90s and shit. Man, goddamn, YouTube didn't come on until goddamn 2000 and about 6 or 7. You feel what I'm saying? I had already been to the motherland. You feel me? I had already been 3 times. I believe 3 times before I even got on YouTube. So I had already did, before I got on the internet, man, I had already did about damn near 16, 17 years of research even before I got on YouTube. That's why I was so goddamn dynamic. You know what I'm saying? And I was still, had my street, you understand, presentation, you know what I'm saying? Which was, with the combination of such mastery. You know what I'm saying? The combination of such mastery in where you could reach not only the quote unquote the geeks and shit with the glasses and shit, where a motherfucker can even reach down on the corner in the corner store and pull some niggas up out of there and say, God damn, man, I think I might want to live a righteous life. You see? Yeah, you was there in 06. You was there, huh? That's right. You was there. With 2000? Who did you go with? Did you go with Quasi? Yeah, shit. You already know. Yeah. You been to Ethiopia, Ghana, and Tanzania. Okay. Yeah, Tanzania, that's still, in that area. You know what I'm saying? You done been to, some mighty African nations right there. No, you went with your mom. Okay, that's what's up. It don't make no difference. You was there. That's what's up. That's what's up. But anyway, we gonna this Olmec, listen, let me tell y'all something. This Olmec lecture, it cannot be defeated. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers can't defeat me. And they know they can't. They don't even deal with, the area in which because Dr. Ben always taught me from the brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Ben taught me as a brother of the Egyptian mystery system what to look for. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the temples, the tombs, the geometric layouts and shit and all of that. So, I come at it at a whole different, and I see a lot of motherfuckers is trying to do it. But see, all them motherfuckers like Graham Hancock and all of them motherfuckers is really, that's what they doing. Yeah, that's really that's what they doing. They trying to mimic what I already laid down before, ancient aliens and shit going through all the temples and shit. That was what I was already doing. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was putting in, the temple studies and, showing y'all all the temples in Asia, in India, and in Indonesia, man, all through there where people didn't even know where temples is. Now, this Olmec thing, that's why I'm trying to show y'all the Olmecs rule the whole of North and South America. See, this is what they not saying. When you look at a map and they show you the Olmec, they're gonna show you a little area in right in the off the Gulf, whatever you want to, if you want to say Mexico or America, whatever is all right with me. They gonna show you that little area and say this was the heartland of the Olmec. But the Olmec's hand extended all the way down into South America, on both sides, on the West Coast and the East Coast. You understand? They hand went all into Guatemala, Belize, Peru. You understand? Into Brazil, all into Mexico, up into North America. Because when y'all talk about the mound culture, that was an extension of the Olmec culture. You see, the Olmecs controlled the whole of the Gulf. You see, they controlled the whole of the Gulf, and then they hand extended on the West Coast of Mexico, going into the South Pacific, going into Easter Island, over and through there. They was over there too, and so I'ma show you and bring it all full circle. And this is what they not saying. This is what they're not saying, because you're dealing with the megalithic, megalithic structures, even how they fit the stones together, man. And it's crazy. See, now the white boys is already on it. They know what it is. They can't deny it no more. So you could go on certain, but they try to spin it. You see, they're going to try to spin it, and they're going to make it seem like some Anunnaki came down here and gave it, and wherever you see it, that's evidence of the Anunnaki. But they know that what do you think about the pyramids with the columns wrapped in spiral casings? I got to see that. You know what? I don't know. I don't know. I had to see. I heard that they found some things, but I'm in question of what they found, because at this time, listen to me. When you doing, it's a lot of people that been digging up under that motherfucker. I get very, very suspicious in these late dates. Where people just up and finding shit. Pyramids been there damn near 5,000 years, and all of a sudden they just find these things. I don't know. I don't know. I have to look at it and see. And I know this is a powerful creation, though. It's a powerful creation, this Great Pyramid, and so the possibilities of what it might be connected to is infinite. Is infinite. But I know that these Caucasians, they are trying to spin the history of ancient Egypt. They're trying to, because if he could take the credit for himself, he wouldn't look for no aliens. You see, the fact that he cannot claim the history for itself is why he playing the alien card. So, anything that, you think of the Graham Hancocks and what's the other guy? What's his name? You got the one that wrote Black Genesis. Burrell or whatever his name is. And so, yeah. I don't, I just have to, I had to see it. I'm going to look at it. I know people been talking about it. And, it very well, Bivol. Yeah, Robert Bivol. Yeah, Bivol. Yeah, him. So you had to watch him and shit, because they really, they what they doing is the same thing that the Arabs and the European, but they just going a different way with it. You know what I'm saying? They all want to steal the legacy of African people. And the reality is that the development of it is really, is without mystery, is without mystery. Studying the pyramids, and you can see the development of them, and that the pyramid, when you come down and you look, because you got to look on the west side of the Nile, which, you know, the sun sets in the west. And so that's where you're going to find most of the, if not all, the tombs, the pyramids. You're going to find them on the west, you know, the west side of the Nile. And but when you see how they line them up, and you get a vision of, you know the pyramid, because you got, you know, man, listen here, I seen an image that it'll blow your mind. You know, it'll blow your mind. I have never seen nothing like it in my life. And you know, when I first got to the Giza Plateau one time, and man, we walked around the back of the Giza Plateau. You know, the Nile was on the back side, and I looked down the Nile, and you could literally see pyramids hanging it. I mean, 40, probably 30 and 20 and 30 miles down the river. You could just see them hanging in the sky, because it wasn't nothing but, you know, desert. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't nothing that was blocking your vision. And I just seen pyramids all the way down. I say, damn, this is unbelievable, man. It's just see things like this. You know, it's unbelievable to see all these pyramids just going down the Nile, hanging in the sky like that. I say, wow, this is amazing. But really what it is, when you go up into the interior of Africa, is what they call the Kui land, what they call the Ta-Nehru, which is the land of the gods and goddesses. They already acknowledge where their gods and goddesses came from. You see, and much of what the Olmecs in what you see there is literally a carbon copy of what's in the Nile Valley, because you got this calendar, which they call, is not the Mayan calendar. And I'm sick of motherfuckers talking about it. It never was the Mayan calendar. That's the Olmec calendar, okay? And you're not going to create no 365-day calendar in no couple of days or no couple of years or even 100 years. So the calendar is that the Olmecs possessed was the same calendar that came up out of the Nile Valley. You know, that's the research. But you know, when you look at the pyramids that's in the lower Egypt, Egypt is the lower land. You know, when you go into the interior of Africa, the further you go up the Nile, you're going up the Nile, okay? You know, and the only way you could go up the Nile is from Egypt. You go up the Nile, but to come down the Nile, you have to be in the interior of Africa. That's where the beginning of the Nile began, the blue and the white Nile. The blue Nile begins in Ethiopia, in Lake Tana. I was there. I came out of Lake Tana onto the blue Nile. You see where it began. I seen all type of hippopotamuses out there. Now the white Nile started in Uganda. You see, and so people don't know that these freshwater lakes in the interior of Africa, these is in the mountains. And so the Nile is flowing down. I mean, you're talking about some of the highest levels on the planet. So the Nile is flowing down into Egypt, and Egypt is like, you know, is surface level. But shit, you go in the interior, you talking about 15, 20,000 feet in the air. And so this is where they get the, you know, the spiritual cosmology of that the Nile flowed down out of the heavens. You see, flow down out of the heavens. So the mountains the pyramids, when they created Egypt is a recreation of the Holy Land up the river in stone. You see, they recreated the Holy Land of the Ta-Nehru in Egypt. When you come into the temples, a lot of time when you come into the temples, you'll see a hypostyle hall, and that's a room, nothing but columns. And then you look up at the Capitol, and you will see the papyrus, and you will see the lotus. But these is the swamp regions up in Sudan, southern Sudan, that nobody talks about. You see, a lot of people don't even talk about that. They don't even know about that, because you got the Sud swamp where you got a lot of our peoples that's living over there in that swamp. Nobody even talk about that. And many of the, when you look at Hatshepsut, going to the what they call the Kui land or Punt, you see that on at the temple of El Badari, which is her funerary temple. It shows her pilgrimage. Well, I don't think she actually went, but she sent her emissaries down to retrieve a lot of trees, frankincense and myrrh, all type of animals and things that was only you can find in the southern region. And so on her funerary temple, she had images carved of what the southern regions look like, and so many of them huts that you see in Punt is the same one. A lot of times you see in Sudan or over there in that Sud region, especially where it flood, because them huts be up on them stilts. You see, and so when you go to El Badari and you look up on her where she went into Punt, you will see them huts, and then you will see them up on them stilts. What's up, black man? You'll see them up on them stilts. So it's in the interior. So that's what they were duplicating when they went in. And so when you get into the interior of the temple, you will see a lot of times what they call the Ark of whatever deity, the Ark of Heru, the Ark of Amen, the Ark of Mu. And you'll see the deity is in the Ark because the deity sailed down. You feel me? Out of the southern regions, and you understand, they sailed down from heaven. And so when the pharaohs, they had their ark. If you go to the Great Pyramid of Khufu, you'll see he had his ark out there. And he, after in his spiritual form, he would take to the ark and he would sail back up the Nile from where the deities came. But he didn't just stop in the mountain region, because the Nile is actually, it's not only flowing down out of the mountains, it flows right up into the heavens. That's why you got what they call the Milky Way, and the Milky Way, which is sacred to Heru, and then the spirit of the Pharaoh will sail back up the Nile into the mountain regions, up into heaven, and then going sailing through the Milky Way to be one with the Holy Mother and Father, Aset and Asa. That's what he did, and he would, in essence, become Assad, like many other deities. That's where you get the avatar from. You know what I'm saying? Where you got so many, the avatar recreates himself, and you got so many avatars. But that's the Pharaoh that they would come and take their place in the heavens as I saw. But we had to, the Olmecs is most definitely a Nile Valley culture. And no doubt, I hear scholars out there, and whenever they want to sit down and I don't just talk. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of scholars, they talk, and I don't talk. I put the physical evidence up there. Undisputable. I come with overwhelming facts. And many scholars have already established that the Olmecs was the Nile Valley. There's no getting around. It's just too much, it's too much, but they want to hide it because, and this is why they have to redirect the history of the Nile Valley, because everything on the planet is coming out of the Nile Valley one way or another. The Nile Valley was the womb of civilization on this planet by far. And there's nothing on the planet that even coming close to duplicating what is done all the way up to Nile. I'm talking about from Ethiopia into Sudan, into Zimbabwe, into Egypt, and the extension into West Africa too, because that's an extension of the great mother of civilization extending off into the west coast, even down into the southern regions of Africa. And so, it's about seeing it for yourself. You know, it's about seeing it for yourself. And I most definitely prepare you. You know, you ain't a lot of people. I prepare you to see, you know, to look for shit. It's one thing to read, and it's never giving up reading. But see, that goddamn image is stick. And when you see some shit, and I'll make the comparison, you gonna know it. You gonna come to an understanding like, God damn, that's the, you know what I'm saying? And I don't come with no one or two. I pile it up on your ass. You see what I'm saying? I pile it up on you to make it clear. You gonna have to, nigga, you gonna have to lie through the crack of your goddamn teeth, nigga, to come in here and tell me you don't see what you see. You's a goddamn fool. I don't, so that, you know, all that rhetoric, see, you got too many people out here with rhetoric. You know, it's one thing to have rhetoric, but you got to have some visual documentation too. Pictures is worth 1,000 words. It gives you an opportunity to look at it and rationalize whether it's the truth. You see? And so I'm telling you that, you know, that the Olmec civilization came directly from the Nile. If you look at that head back there. Now, I'm letting everybody know the link is right there. If you want to be a part of this, I'm going to show out for you, most definitely. You're not going to get this nowhere on the planet. You don't have scholarship like this any longer. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm doing for y'all is because I'm a priest of my craft. I was raised as a priest of my craft to do what I do. And I've done it just like any priest who put in 30 years or something. And you know, to master it so that, you know, that I'm convincing you of your legacy. This is our legacy. I'm convincing you that you are the masters of the planet. That's what I'm here to do, and show you and dispel all nonsense so you can get back up on your throne. That's what the fuck it's about, in confidence. You know what? I'm gonna tell you, I ain't had not one motherfucker step to me. For real. They ain't stepping. You can hear them. They ain't stepping. They done faded, and the general's still here, and I can crack heads without nobody. I won't hear a peep. Go get Graham Hancock. Go get Breville. Go get all of them. We can have a sit down. It's not a problem. It's not a problem because I was teaching what they didn't ate on my shit. I didn't call them eating on it. You see what I'm saying? I didn't call them eating like visually, you know, even when I did the Olmecs, when I started going and putting shit up on the about, you know, the Olmecs down in Guatemala and shit, man, they start going over there and making documentaries on ancient aliens going to places and shit that I was showing. I say, ain't this a bitch? You know, they had never shown no shit like that. I had never seen no scholar nowhere even brings a lot of these locations up. And then, you know, and so I know you're sneaking and peeking and shit and stealing my shit, but you ain't a master of it. You know what I'm saying? You's a Johnny come lately, stealing, trying to put your narrative on it, but it'll never work because this is before you, and you do not possess the African spirituality to explain what you're seeing. So I always crush the naysayers, you know. But I want to lay this out for you. We're gonna most definitely connect to all my FBAs out there. This is for you. I know you're mad. I know because I put in there the original Black Myth Exposed. It's the way that it's being addressed. Yes, we understand our people is original or were the first people to conquer the land, lay foot on the land. We understand that. But the narrative today is to sever the connection between the Americas and Africa, and it just can't be because the facts is the facts. And so I don't want you to lie. I don't want you to become a lying motherfucker where you saying, oh, that the Africans didn't know that these are somehow separate, that we did not come from Africa, and that's a goddamn lie. And anytime any motherfucking scholar out there who whatever, we can sit down, but don't come with no goddamn rhetoric. Come with I'm a field researcher. I deal with physical evidence. Let's come with that. We can't start in 1826. We can't start and say we got to go further than that. And we got to look at the evidence of what was left. And when we look at it and we make the comparison, it's without any doubt that the Nile Valley Africans was coming into the Americas at an early date. Their evidence is here, even in West Africa too. But the capabilities of the Egyptians and the Nile Valley Africans who had constructed mega, we talking about barges. Now, we ain't talking about no damn canoes and no ships, which they will not show that. You know what I'm saying? Our peoples was selling goddamn 1,000-ton obelisks and 1,000-ton blocks up and down these damn, the Nile River, up and down the Red Sea. They were selling barges. The Nile Valley African had barges, not boats. And when you look at how many different styles of ships and, that they had, over 20, 30 different styles of ships that nobody wants to talk about for various things. And so, when I seen that Thor Heyerdahl, who had, he was a white boy, I think he was out of Switzerland, Sweden, and he wanted to prove that the Egyptians could sail across the Atlantic Ocean. So he had some brothers from Chad recreate an ancient Egyptian ship, and he sailed it across. The first time, it had damn near, it had made it all the way across. It kind of it broke apart maybe 200-300 miles outside of he was from Norway. That's right. Thank you, brother. Yeah, and it broke up about 300 miles from Barbados, somewhere out of there. But the second time he made it. You see, it took him 2 months, but that was a medium-sized Egyptian boat. That wasn't the large barge ships that they have and possess, And so when you look at how the Olmecs carved, now see, when you see them heads back there, those were the originals. That's when they was fresh out of the Nile. That's why you look at the perfection. You see, when you look at somebody that can carve like that to the perfection that you see that Olmec head, they've been carving in that stone for 1,000 years, over 1,000 years. This is nobody that's starting off. This is somebody who has been handed down a craft of mastery that cannot be duplicated nowhere on the goddamn earth. The only place where you see heads that large carved with such mastery is ancient Egypt. Now, these are the very first ones. These are not the, it ain't no, so you have to be able to show development. You can't just show up with a perfectly carved 40-ton head carved out of granite to such perfection like that. You got to show the development stages that led up to that. But that's the first one. How do you start off on this level with the first one? You don't have nothing before it. You see what I'm saying? So you have to look for the development somewhere else. When you look at the pyramid, the first pyramid of the Americas was a damn near a megalith. It was, it was at least, I think the pyramid of Levanto was at least 30, well, I think it was at least 30, 40. I got to get to how many feet tall, but it was a large pyramid. You understand what I'm saying? It had stones around it. So, but that show you when you talk about the Mississippi mounds and you go up under the Olmec pyramids, it's mounds up under there. So either a lot of them mounds that they called them had some stone around them. They didn't, some of them might be mounds, but some of them had stone around them and they took the stone down. That's what they did. They'll take the stone down and they'll use the stone to make other shit. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what happened. So now here it is. The first pyramid is a large pyramid. You're not going to start large. In Egypt, you see the development stage. You see where they start with the mastaba. You see what I'm saying? They start with the mastaba, which is a single story tomb. And then Imhotep, he came and he stacked the mastabas. You see, he put one on top of the other, and so, that was the start of the skyscraper, where they start reaching to the sky. And then you see other pharaohs come after Imhotep. You see, where Imhotep had the step pyramid. Ultimately, they knew that they was trying to take it to the true pyramid anyway, but they hadn't, got all of the mathematics together. They were still trying to work the mathematics of it. So when, you had pharaohs come after Imhotep, like Pepi, I believe it was Pepi the second. Then you had Sneferu. Sneferu was the father of Khufu, who built, when you go to the Giza Plateau, the largest pyramid is Khufu. Well, his father was the one, Sneferu, who created the first true pyramid, but he had flaws. Pepi the second had flaws. So you see from, the stage where Imhotep took it to where, Sneferu built, the red pyramid was the one where he perfected the true pyramid. They had flaws. You see what I'm saying? They hadn't worked it out all the way. So you got certain pyramids where the outer casing fell down. Sneferu got the bent pyramid where it started to cracking. You know what I'm saying? If he would have took that bent pyramid to a completion, it probably would have been the second tallest pyramid in the world. But even over Khafra's pyramid, it most definitely was heavier. Them damn stones on that damn bent pyramid was heavy. If he would have took that pyramid to where it would, to completion, man, that would have been a massive building. My God, he got some heavy stones on that pyramid. You feel me? But you see, but I'm showing you that in Egypt, you see development stage. There ain't no goddamn alien built nothing, nigga. It's a development stage. You see? And then you can go all the way to the you talking about the first dynasty, and the tomb, they had mastabas, but they had the upper portion of the tomb was made out of mud brick. So eventually, but man, it's some shit still standing in the first dynasty that'll blow your mind. You wouldn't even believe it, how large they was building even in the first dynasty. You got this, it's almost like a fort from Casa Kimwe, still standing. We talking about the first dynasty. And man, this is a damn fort, and the walls on the fort, man, look like they at least 14, 15 feet high. So you even talking about even in the fort, they don't even want to talk about that. What you talking about? Can I go activate my old shit? Where you at? But anyway, family, this is where we at. You understand what I'm saying? This is where we at. I want y'all to hit that link. I want y'all to get in the house and take advantage of the only scholar out there that's still revealing the information like the masters. You see, building on top of them. He said, I'm a twin. A guy that has a black friend, has plenty of black friends. I understand the struggle you set me as fam. Would y'all get this man off of here, Ray, this angry scratcher? Could you get his ass off of here? He talking about he's a white man. I need y'all to get on that immediately and get that garbage up off of here. You get that garbage up off of here. Yeah. Get that, somebody. Get that garbage. Yeah, get that garbage. Take out the garbage. Yeah, let me see. Did y'all get him? Yeah, get his ass up off of here. Yeah. But anyway, it's gonna be a powerful. It's gonna be a powerful. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna take, and then I'm gonna take you on down to Argentina, to the Peru, showing you the megalithic, man. All of that is Egyptian. You can see the Egyptian tapered doorway. I get him. I was. If you didn't get him, that's all right. I get him. because you probably didn't see him. That's all right. I got him. I get his ass up off here. He out of here. Yeah, get your ass up out of here. You know, good and goddamn well. Ain't no Cro-Magnon Neanderthal coming on my. Yeah, I'm gonna take you on down there to the ink, all of that. They stealing. Inca, Maya, Aztec, ain't none of that shit they built. All of that was there before they got there. They came in there. Yeah, you got it. I got his ass too. Yeah, they got it. Yeah, all of that is Olmec. All the way up into the Mississippi, what they trying to talk about, all of that is Olmec. Everything, and the Olmecs ruled both continents. You understand what I'm saying? And they brought over here the megalithic structure, architecture that you see down there in Peru, that you see in Mexico, and whatever other evidence that they hide. That, you know, that's why they really knocked a lot of these what they call the mounds down in the United States, because it shows that the Olmecs rule from when you talk about Levanta, that was the capital, but they had more than one capital, because that one down there in Peru, where they was using the megalithic, that was a state capital down there too, because that is some exquisite shit down there. And I'm telling you, and you can see like the when you take them stones and they be zigzag, you see, and you taking megalithic stones like that. We ain't talking about no little ass stone. You talking about 20, 30, 40 ton stones, and they zigzag and and you fit them motherfuckers together like a puzzle. The only place you gonna find stones put together like that is in Egypt. That's it. You ain't gonna find, and maybe you might find in India, but they got it from the Nile Valley too. And you can see the knobs, you know, that be sticking up out of the stone. And a lot of people don't know what they for, but you can have these large stones and they have like protruding little knobs. They look like little knobs coming out of the stone. You can find them on the blocks. You can find them on the the sarcophaguses and things of that nature. Man, I lay it out so cold-blooded where you can see them in the Nile. You see them in the Olmec land. You can see them in India, and I put them all. Man, it's mind-blowing to know, man, what we was doing in the ancient world, to had seen all of these civilizations when they was pristine. Is shocking. It's shocking you can even just to see it in its, you know, in its state today is shocking. But to see all of this global Kushite civilization when it was pristine would be mind blowing. It'll blow the mind. I appreciate y'all, family. I'm just giving y'all, a heads up on tomorrow. Well, it's almost tomorrow. We got 3 minutes. I want y'all to come on in there and join. And the crazy thing about it is that when you come in on the advanced level, because that's where you're going to get that potency. You're going to get all type of, but I had to take it up a notch, because like I say, I did the creatures. I did the rise of the Neanderthal. I can't keep that down on no low level. I'm just going to be, because you get a certain type of character who are not prepared to see that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not about to be taking my damn research and giving it to some little lanes. And these motherfuckers these motherfuckers just want a hip hop presentation. They don't want this. And so when they get to seeing some potency, these motherfuckers go in shock. You know what I'm saying? When they get to seeing, especially on a video like that, and I touch on them Neanderthals like that. You see what I'm saying? These motherfuckers are going shock, want to flag your shit, and and this, that, and third. So if I had to take it up where I know that people coming in, they know what they're gonna get. They know the quality of what they're gonna get. You see what I'm saying? They know they're not gonna get it nowhere else. You're not gonna get it nowhere else. And I'm gonna connect you with the grandmasters, and I'm gonna connect you so when you get ready to go over there, that you are fully equipped, not to just even if you go with whoever you go with, if you go by yourself, that if you go and you take the general courses and you go there, you are fully equipped, even if you go by yourself, man, to spot a lot of things that you wouldn't even spot if you was even there with a tour guide. If they was from Egypt, if they was from goddamn Mexico, goddamn it, you would come off better watching General Cyrus Sunsetti and going by your goddamn self. It'll blow your mind how much you are identified by yourself just by taking the generals a video. I'm not saying that this is what I do. You see what I'm saying? Prove me fucking wrong. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Prove me fucking wrong. Hit that link. Be in the house 6:30 tomorrow. We're gonna have it. And I'm talking shit, so it's probably gonna be 3 hours. And this one, it'll be able to stay up there. So if you miss a little bit of it, or this, that, and the third, I'm gonna upload it to the advanced level, so you will be able to get in there and watch it, and then you'll have access to everything that's already been uploaded into the advanced level already. You see what I'm saying? And so that's going to be a hell of an enjoyment, because there's some things up there that you didn't know was up there and is waiting on you. These are gems and jewels. I'll be right, a black family. I appreciate y'all. It's Friday night. Well, it's Saturday now. It's 12 a.m. on the nose. And so, yeah, we come in, we bringing this Saturday, March the 29th in with nothing but full authority, Black Kushite, ancient Egyptian, African, Nubian knowledge. We coming in. And so don't go nowhere. Come back. I want you to hit the subscribe button. Share this so people can come in and get this work. Share this across wherever you're at so people can come in, get this work. Go to Patreon, subscribe on the advanced level. So in at 6:30 sharp, we're going to start the lecture. I'll be right black. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up. Like it because you love it, and share it with your family and friends. Black Power.